Welcome to Silent Medicine, the podcast where science meets spirit and your body is finally allowed to tell the truth. I am your host, Dr. Nnenna Ndika, clinical psychologist, integrative medicine doctor, and a woman with a very sensitive system of her own. This is a quiet space for people whose bodies have been whispering or shouting, something's not right, even when all the tests look normal. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders soften just a little. And let's listen to your inner healer together. Today, we are talking about what happens when wellness itself becomes another form of stress. When the pursuit of health becomes a burden. There was a time when wellness felt simpler. It came in the form of rest more, eat nourishing foods, move your body, get sunlight, breathe, slow down, drink enough water, sleep enough. But somewhere along the way, healing became complicated. And if you ask me what shifted, I don't think it is one thing alone. But all of a sudden, many people find themselves carrying more protocols, more supplements, more rules, more restrictions, more fear, more pressure, and more information than their nervous systems can even process. Sometimes people have storage containers full of supplements, alarms reminding them what to take and when to take each one, lists of foods they can no longer eat, protocols for morning, afternoon, and night. And yet, despite all that effort, they are exhausted. Not because they are doing too little, but because healing itself has become another full-time job. And sometimes, very quietly, wellness itself becomes another source of stress. Not because the desire to heal or stay well is wrong, but because healing can slowly become tangled with hypervigilance, perfectionism, self-monitoring exhaustion, and the fear of getting it wrong. I see this often. People are no longer just trying to feel better. They are trying to optimize every aspect of themselves. Be it sleep, blood sugar, gut health, hormones, supplements, light exposure, circadian rhythm, exercise, water, air, EMFs. Every ingredient, every symptom, every sensation, every exposure, every fluctuation in energy. And while some awareness can absolutely be helpful, there comes a point where the body no longer feels supported by the quest for wellness. It feels pressured by it. Now, to be clear, some foods may genuinely not support your body well. Some environments really can contribute to inflammation, stress, mold exposure, nervous system overload, chronic symptoms, and even some unexplained medical and mental health conditions. Some people absolutely do feel better after simplifying their food, reducing the toxic load, or changing aspects of their environment. I will never forget an article I read in the mid-1990s about a woman living with multiple medical conditions and the emotional struggles that came with them. One of the first meaningful steps in her recovery was not another complicated protocol. It was simply simplifying her nutrition. So, this episode is not about pretending everything is harmless. Oh no. And it is not about dismissing environmental wellness or conscious nourishment. It is about asking a deeper question. What happens when the pursuit of healing and health itself keeps the nervous system in a constant state of alarm? Because sometimes people become so focused on avoiding harm that the body never experiences enough safety to settle into repair. And moreover, just like trying to keep the body completely sterile can have unintended consequences, trying to eliminate every form of physical or emotional strain may also have unintended consequences. The nervous system pays attention not only to what we eat, but also to the emotional environment surrounding healing and wellness. And many modern wellness spaces unintentionally create an atmosphere of fear. Fear of food, fear of ingredients, fear of stress, fear of toxins, fear of doing things incorrectly, fear of missing the right protocol, fear that one mistake will undo everything. And for sensitive systems especially, that constant vigilance becomes exhausting. The body cannot fully soften into repair, while constantly being treated like a problem to manage. Sometimes people become more exhausted from trying to heal or stay well than from the original imbalance itself. I think that is part of why so many people are quietly craving different and alternative ways of staying healthy and restoring their health. Not louder, not more extreme, not wellness that turns healing into another full-time job, but wellness practices and ideologies that feel emotionally safe, steady, grounded, relational, human, in smaller strides and at a consistent pace. A way of caring for the body that does not require constant panic or constant movement or constant self-surveillance or performing health online or living inside endless pressure. Healing was never meant to become another identity performance. Your body is not asking you to become perfect. Most of the time, it is asking for more listening, more pacing, more nourishment, more rest, more sleep, more safety, more gentleness, more honesty about what overwhelms you, and less war with yourself. And sometimes, the most healing thing you can do is simply simplify or modify, and sometimes pivot completely, and that's okay too. To simplify is not avoidance. It is not fear. It is recalibrating your partnership with your body, your mind, and your spirit. I've learned this in my own life too. The body often responds better to calm consistency than frantic intensity. Small, supportive rhythms. Simple, nourishing meals. Quiet environments. Restorative practices. Reducing unnecessary overwhelm. Listening before reacting. And allowing healing to become sustainable instead of performative. Your body does not need another pressure system. The imbalance your body is experiencing is pressure enough. Your body needs a steady and compassionate partner. And maybe that partnership begins by releasing the belief that healing must always feel urgent, complicated, or exhausting. That healing and maintaining wellness must include doing so many things all at the same time can be seen as misinformation. Because if the information, protocols, and modalities are cognitively overwhelming, imagine what may happen to your physiology, what may happen mentally, emotionally, and physically. When your system is constantly bombarded by the same confusing and overwhelming inputs, then we have interruptions in the healing process. Because in my opinion, healing becomes more possible when the nervous system finally feels safe enough to exhale. Not because the body suddenly became capable of expedited healing, but because it finally experiences enough safety and space to begin doing what it had been trying to do all along. So, before we close today, I would leave you with a gentle reflection. Where has healing or maintaining wellness started to feel more like pressure than support? And what might change if you approached your body with a little more calm, a little more kindness, and a little less fear or anxiety? You may be asking, how do I know that I feel fear around my health and wellness or healing process? May I suggest, if you find yourself doing too much, and you would likely know if you are doing too much, because you may feel dread, anxiety, exhaustion, or pressure around wellness. You may want to simplify. And if you are not doing anything or doing too little about your health, you may also know, perhaps through a low mood around wellness, avoidance, disconnection, or a quiet sense that your body is asking for more support. So maybe the invitation is not to do everything and not to do nothing either. Maybe the invitation is to listen more honestly and more closely and choose the next supportive step with less fear and anxiety. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me today. If something in this episode touched a nerve in a good way, or helps you feel a little less confused or overwhelmed by it all, you might share it with someone whose body has also been carrying a lot in silence. You can find more calm, practical reflections at silentmedicine.com. And if you'd like gentle support about once a week, you're welcome to join the Silent Medicine newsletter there as well. A gentle reminder before we close. This podcast is educational only. It isn't for medical, nutritional, or psychological advice. And it doesn't replace working with qualified professionals who know you and your history. Until next time, may you notice one quiet way your body is already trying to care for you, even if the world hasn't honored that yet, because your body has been trying to heal you all along. May you keep listening to the healer within. I am Dr. Nnenna, and this is Silent Medicine. Take care.